A few weeks ago, Netflix released the second season of Squid Games.
It is a Korean series and it's a global hit. It is the most popular show on Netflix ever.
And it is practically everywhere. You'll see viral videos across social media with these guys in pink suits. Even Hanuman Kind, who is a very popular Indian rapper, released an entire song that is inspired by the show in collaboration with Netflix. Basically, Squid Games is popular everywhere across the world. But what is interesting is that Squid Games is not the only thing from South Korea which has global popularity. There is BTS, which is a popular K-pop band with a huge global fan base. Gen Zs around the world are absolutely crazy about them. Then there are movies like Parasite, which have been recognized globally by winning the Oscar.
Parasite.
And then there is also K-drama. Basically, people love Korean content, shows and entertainment so much that in 2023, Netflix decided to invest $2.5 billion in order to produce more Korean shows for their platform. Let that number sink in, $2.5 billion. It is absolutely insane how fast Korean culture is spreading across the world. But what most people do not realize is that none of this is coincidence. All the popular K-pop stars that you see today, they weren't just randomly discovered on the internet or on the streets. They were actually created by the South Korean government, and that too with a very clear agenda in mind. These artists have been trained and made in almost like a factory setup which produces perfect performers. Everything about them, from their dance moves to their fashion and even their diet, is perfected so that they can become perfect stars for the big stage. So in some sense, they are almost factory manufactured to appeal to the external world. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Korea's master plan to market itself globally. Just like how companies build brands to sell products, Korea is actually building its cultural brand in order to gain soft power over the world. This means Korea through culture is trying to influence people across the world through entertainment, music and movies rather than military or economic pressures. And so far, let me tell you, it has worked out brilliantly. But the question is, why did Korea choose to export their culture, and how did a country which has a population similar to Delhi NCR manage to capture the entire world's attention? In this video, we will look at one of the most brilliant marketing campaigns that has ever been executed by a country. So let's decode. But before I get started, here is a special thanks to Zerodha's 01 network for helping me build this channel. It is with the help of this network that I am able to work towards my dream of making marketing conversation more mainstream in our country. People, to understand why Korea decided to export its culture, we will have to go back to 1996 when South Korea was in trouble because of the Asian financial crisis. Foreign investors lost confidence in the country and the government was desperately looking for ways to recover. But right around the same time, something very interesting was happening. A K-pop group called HOT was getting massive attention on MTV Asia. They were selling millions of albums not just in Korea but across all of Asia. And that is when the Korean government realized something very interesting. They figured that instead of just exporting products like phones and cars, exporting their culture like music and movies could be a very interesting way to boost their economy. So in 1998, the Korean government launched something called the Hallyu Development Plan. Now Hallyu is basically a Chinese term which literally means Korean wave. And in order to do this, they set a budget of $14 million for the entertainment industry, which they later increased to $84 million by 2001. But the thing is, for nearly 20 years after that, their investment went almost entirely fruitless. Even though South Korea created fabulous content, they were just not able to capture the attention of the world like they had hoped to. But then in 2012, something mind-boggling happened. Korean artist Psy's Gangnam Style became an overnight internet sensation. In just 159 days after its release, the song became the first ever video to touch 1 billion views on YouTube. And it remained the most popular video on YouTube for 5 long years. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the beginning of the Korean wave across the world. Right after that, a band called BTS took off, another band called Blackpink became the highest grossing girl group ever, the Korean movie Parasite won an Oscar, and Squid Games became Netflix's biggest show ever. Basically, with every new success, the brand of South Korea became stronger and stronger and stronger in the minds of people, and their master plan became more and more visible. Now, I'm sure at some point in time you would have heard of K-pop music, and I don't know if you noticed, but that K in K-pop actually stands for Korea. And every single aspect of this style of music is carefully planned in order to appeal to a worldwide audience. Also, completely opposite to the rest of the world, where music stars are usually discovered, South Korea actually takes a very different approach. They literally manufacture these stars. And I'll explain how. Look, first, entertainment companies in Korea hold auditions in order to scout talents. Now, these youngsters are then signed and put through a super intense training program. This training can usually last for a few months or even many years in some cases. It covers everything, right from singing and dance lessons to even personal development and food habits for these artists. These training camps have very strict diets and they monitor the end-to-end lifestyle of these young talents. The goal here is to basically factory mold them into perfect performers who would end up appealing to a global audience. But the thing is, even after this crazy intensive process, it's not like everyone gets selected. It is only and only the best ones out of this lot that end up moving ahead. These selected people are then grouped into bands, given a band name, and then launched into the world under a very strict contract. And all of it is so crazy that in just the last 5 years, Korea has managed to create and launched 20 new K-pop groups. And now in total, they have more than 100 active K-pop groups or bands which are trying to all appeal to a global audience on behalf of South Korea all at once. Now, one very important strategy that has made K-pop so successful internationally is its use of foreign elements, especially English language. For instance, in 2018, English made up about 22.4% of K-pop lyrics, but by 2023, that number had nearly doubled to 41%. And this linguistic shift has played a massive role in broadening K-pop's appeal to the world. The fun fact is that the two most streamed K-pop songs on Spotify, which is Dynamite and Butter, are entirely in English, and not even a single word is in Korean. So it is absolutely no surprise that K-pop's biggest markets now include US, which is ranked 2nd globally, and India, which is ranked 5th globally. The inclusion of English has undeniably helped K-pop make inroads into these diverse markets. So once South Korea fine-tuned its approach towards music, the focus shifted to films and dramas. And today, K-dramas or Korean dramas are so big that in 2023 alone, Netflix released about 34 Korean movies or shows. And what is even more interesting is that these shows are not just any ordinary shows. The themes of these dramas and movies are very carefully chosen to tackle globally relevant issues like social inequality, which can be seen in the show Squid Games. And this strategy has worked in a fabulous way. According to statistics, 80% of Netflix subscribers now watch Korean content, and Korean content is the most popular category on Netflix right after English. Now, what all of this success has done for Korea is that it has turned it into a hub of tourism all of a sudden. In 2024, more than 1.2 million tourists visited South Korea for K-pop related activities. And let me tell you another crazy fact. 1 out of every 13 tourists who visited South Korea from across the world came only to attend a BTS concert. So therefore, recognizing the magnanimous opportunity here, the South Korean government is now developing a massive K-pop concert arena called the K-Culture Valley. Now this is a massive space that is designed specifically to host more than 170 concerts every year and also attract 5 million fans into the country. But what's interesting here is that the ripple effects of Korea's culture export do not even stop at tourism. The global love for Korean culture has also immensely boosted the demand for Korean products. A very interesting stat is that every 1% increase in Korean culture exports results in an 8.3% rise in sales of Korean goods like food and fashion. For example, in India, the market for Korean noodles skyrocketed from just 2 crore rupees in 2021 to 65 crore rupees in 2023. Similarly, Korean beauty products have become super popular too. Korean cosmetic exports reached an all-time high of $10.2 billion in 2024. Young consumers, especially women, are largely driving this trend. They seem to absolutely love Korean serums, toners, face masks, and everything else as well. And of course, even brands are starting to capitalize on this wave. Korean skincare brand Quench Botanics, for instance, collaborated with Kareena Kapoor in order to expand its footprint in India. And it's not just that, there are many Indian brands which are now specializing in selling Korea-related food products in our country. So if you think about it, South Korea has successfully transitioned from simply promoting its culture to actively managing to sell it. The K in K-pop, K-dramas and K-beauty has today become a very, very powerful global brand. While some other countries like Saudi Arabia and Japan are definitely trying to replicate this cultural export model, currently South Korea remains the undisputed leader of the game. Well, that's all I have for you in today's video. I hope you found this interesting and maybe learned something new about this topic today. If you enjoy such marketing related conversations, please make sure you subscribe to my channel because I promise you there is a lot more coming. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye.